Cool.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Hey, everyone. It's Coattails and Flags.
Yo.
And we're going to talk about... No, let's just not do a fun intro. Let's... People don't even give an F who we are. They just want to hear about the movie.
Yeah, no one even knows who Flex
No
is.
one who... When I watch these, they don't do, like, it's good to go good. They don't do that stuff.
Yeah, F that.
Okay, so we're just going to be like... Everyone hates Joker 2 for no good reason.
Well, I'm sure someone has a good reason, but
okay,
it's not compelling.
The reasons that they dislike this movie are unfounded.
Yes. Well, I'm sure some of them are founded, but...
Not a lot. I have read nothing but bad things about this movie.
Sam.
I read, oh, it's awful. It's a catch grab. This was terrible. This didn't need a sequel.
The
blah,
director
blah, blah.
made it because he hates his audience.
Right. Oh, yeah, Todd Phillips hates you and wanted to crap all over your
Todd
desk.
Phillips hates the Joker and he hates incels.
And that's why he made this movie. That is all I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into this with extremely low expectations, despite loving Joker.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite movies. I love Arthur Fleck. I cried like 3 times during that movie when I first watched it.
Did you cry during Joker 2?
I don't think I did.
That's why it got a low review. Because you only cried 0 times, but you cried 3 during Joker.
Well, here's the thing. I loved Joker 2. I thought it was a perfect sequel to Joker 1. I think it did wrap up things in Joker 1. I think it did add to the narrative of Joker and Arthur Fleck. So my frustration is that people are hating on this movie with seemingly no valid reason. It's not a cash grab. He doesn't hate his audience.
It's definitely not a cash grab.
So where is all this? Where is this coming from? Where is this narrative that it's a cash grab, it's hating its audience coming from?
It was a very expensive movie. Like, I think it was $200 million.
Holy.
Yes. Like, and the funny thing was when I was watching this, I just kept thinking, like, I actually like this a lot more than La La Land, which it's a very similar movie too.
Mm-hmm.
La La Land was like $40 million. So
yeah.
You can't call it a cash grab when the studio gave $200 million to make it. And it doesn't feel like a $200 million movie.
No, it doesn't.
No.
So
it's a passion project.
It is a quote. It was marketed as a musical, which I don't call this movie a musical. It has musical numbers, but it is by no means a musical.
If it's a musical, then so is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Exactly. That is a musical, though.
It's not, though.
It totally is a musical.
There's an entire section of the movie where they drink fizzy lifting drinks.
Yeah.
No songs are sung.
That's true. It just, well, it wasn't like, a musical is, I think of Les Mis. It's trash. It's talking about my life. It's nonsensical. It's wicked. It's garbage.
Is Sing in the Rain a musical?
Yes.
But even though there's lots of dialogue in Sing in the Rain.
It's fantastic, though, because it's iconic. They were musical numbers, but here's the thing. We're going to be talking about this movie. We're going to be spoiling parts of it. If you don't want to hear about the spoilers, I will tell you when to click off. But we're not going to be spoiling anything specific up until. The music in this movie is Arthur's way of coping with his painful reality.
Correct.
It's a way of coping with his abuse, which you find out more of in this film. His attorney tells the audience things that we didn't know about Arthur in the very first film. And then we find out that she's basically trying to advocate for Arthur's split personality. Joker is a split personality. And so Arthur Fleck didn't really commit the crimes of killing the Wayne Bros and killing Murray. That was his alter ego Joker, and Joker took over. So that's the whole premise, roughly. Harley Quinn meets Joker, and she's psychotic. She's very clearly unwell.
She's in the Arkham institution.
Yes,
with
they're both in
Joker.
Arkham. She's in the lesser patrolled Arkham wing.
Right.
And she is trying to, she becomes his biggest cheerleader. She loves Joker. She's trying to get him out. Oh, you can do this, Joker. Tell him who you really are.
She's a believer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's really that's the non-spoilery premise of the film. it was exactly as if the last one picked up perfectly. So I'm not really sure why everyone is thinking, oh, it didn't. Yeah, no movie technically needs a sequel unless it's written that way. It wasn't that this needed a sequel. It's that it presented a different facet of the discussion that was set up in the first movie, which was all about this sympathetic portrayal of a man who has been ignored by the systems that were set up to protect him, whether that was his mother failing to protect him, his mother abusing him, the social services program not realizing he needed help, his employer firing him for having a gun even though he carried the gun for his own safety. There's different organizations and departments that failed him repeatedly, and then you had this very sick individual kind of have this breaking point. That's like the whole idea about Joker.
Yep.
And it's not a superhero film, obviously.
Yeah, Todd Phillips even said he's never going to fight the Batman.
Yeah. He was never, that was clear though. Joaquin Phoenix, we looked this up. I didn't realize this. He's 49 years old, so he would have what? Been like 46, 47 when he did Joker.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see this. You saw Bruce Wayne, little Bruce Wayne in this universe is a young kid.
Right.
He's like an 8-year-old kid. He was never going to be this criminal clown mastermind. And I think a lot of people got their fifis hurt because they wanted to see him be this criminal mastermind leading, having this barge of truck floating down Gotham River or whatever with tear gas. You remember that episode? Where Joker has this trash ship and there's like stink smell coming out making people laugh. Yeah, he was spreading this like laughing liquid across Gotham.
Joker is the clown prince of crime.
Okay, so everyone wanted to see Arthur Fleck have his moment in the sun, right?
Yes.
And so that's why I think people got their fifis hurt with Joker 2, is they didn't get to see that. Now,
should people watch this movie before you get in the spoiler section?
Here's the thing. If you like Joker 1 and you like it for the right reasons, I think you will enjoy Joker 2.
I think if you understood the intention of Joker 1.
Yes.
If you understood that Joker could have been a movie that wasn't about a DC villain and the message it was trying to send.
Yes.
You're going to really enjoy Joker 2. Yes. But if you went into the first Joker movie thinking, I can't wait to see a movie about a DC villain.
Then you're going to get your fifis
Your fifis are going to be hurt in this movie.
You're going to be extremely disappointed. And I would say no,
Triggered.
Obviously, this movie isn't going to resonate with you like it resonates with other people. So that is the foundation. If you liked Joker for what it represented, it stood for, and you got the message, then I think you will like this because it is building on that. But now, instead of showing the problems with institutions and social services and your family failing you, now it also brings this other element of your citizen supporters, your social group,
your own sense of self,
your fandom.
Yes.
What happens when your fandom gets into this equation? Now your fandom is telling things about yourself. Your fandom is now telling you their expectations. Oh, you were wrong. You were this. You were this. What happens then? So it's kind of like The Wire. How The Wire, every single season of The Wire, they had the Department of Education, they had the longshoremen, they had the cops.
The journalists.
Every single season had this different facet of their influence on Baltimore. And that's kind of how I feel with this.
Joker 2 shifts the lens away from society to people.
Yes, and the people
you're surrounded by.
Right, the people that you are surrounded by that also, like everything else, do not want the best for you. And that is what kind of the crux of this movie was. Now, I knew I was going to like this movie just because I loved the first one. But also, very early on, the first song that he sang was, what was that one?
I don't remember.
He was smoking. There was like Pepe Le Pew on the TV. It was a song that Frank Sinatra sings. Actually, there was like 4 or 5 of those songs, or
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And I love Frank Sinatra, so when I saw that, I knew I was going to like it immediately because the music that they sing is like my playlist. There was only one song on there that I didn't care for. It was the gospel song. But Brendan Gleeson was great. He was such a jerk. You remember that big fat detective, the one that is in the animated series he works?
Harvey Bullock.
Yeah, I thought he was Harvey Bullock.
No.
He wasn't.
No.
But I thought so.
There was no... this movie didn't need any DC
No,
time.
it didn't.
And it didn't really have any, to be fair.
It didn't, but there is one really cool thing. But now we're going to go into spoiler territory. So right before the spoilers, I don't really understand why it's getting all this hate. It's kind of bizarro land to me. It makes no sense. The only way that I can justify it is that people were wanting to see like Gotham City falling apart. And how many times have we seen this before? This was a character piece.
I think it's ironic that if you want to see a really good show about Gotham, you can watch that right now. It's on HBO Max. It's called The Penguin.
And it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. It is exactly what you're looking for. If
Yeah.
you're looking for a piece that evaluates actual problems that people are dealing with in society today, under the guise of it being a Joker movie, go see Joker 2.
Yes, exactly. So now we're going to get into the spoilers.
Yes.
So you notice this very early on. Lady Gaga plays Harley Quinn. She's called Lee in the movie.
Because it's Harleen Quinzel.
Yeah, Harleen Quinzel.
She abbreviates her name to Lee.
So Lee is absolutely nuts. She's crazy. Arthur tells her this multiple times. She stalked him to get in there. She's obsessed with him. She tells him right off the bat, I watched the movie like 40 times on TV. You were great. I came in here. She's building him up. She's clearly the psychotic fangirl, and you know she's extremely unwell. Even when Arthur first approaches her, he's not trying to be some tough guy. Here's the thing about Arthur and Joaquin's portrayal of him. He's so... I feel so sorry for him. And even though he freaking gunned down Murray and killed the Wayne bros, I still feel bad for him because he is so unwell.
Murray got what he deserved.
Murray. But then you see all the guards are treating him like crap. There's this one scene where Brendan Gleeson will give Arthur a cigarette if Arthur tells a joke and entertains them. And Arthur, gets a cigarette. He kind of jokingly, just very lightly pats Brendan Gleeson on the back and said, thanks, buddy. Brendan Gleeson smacks him as hard as he can in the back of the head. And you realize he's just getting the same abuse again here under the wardens in the psychiatric facility.
And it is worth mentioning, at this point in the movie, Arthur is heavily medicated.
Yes.
He does have a lawyer. The lawyer seems to care about him immensely.
Yeah, she genuinely wants to see him because she told him. The whole point is she's trying to get him out of Arkham because she says, you don't belong here. You're sick. You need help.
Yes. Like
you actually need to be in a hospital for people to take care of you and find out what's wrong and treat you.
He's not laughing.
No.
He's not manic or maniacal. He's very subdued, obviously medicated, but at this point, his life seems much calmer.
Yes.
Than it does during the events of Joker.
Right. He's not at all...
He's not Joker.
No, he's not Joker.
He's just a little inmate at Arkham.
But the whole premise is his attorney is trying to tell the story that Joker is a distinct personality from Arthur Fleck. And Arthur Fleck didn't commit those crimes. Joker took the light and Joker did those crimes. And so now Lee comes into the picture and she's very much a bad influence on him. Right off the bat, she tells him, you are Joker. Your attorney is lying to you. She's trying to take advantage of you. She's trying to manipulate you. She doesn't know the real you.
She tells him to stop taking his medication.
Yes, she tells him to stop taking his meds. We're going to get out of here. She's building all these delusions of grandeur with him.
She lights the hospital on fire.
Yes. And his attorney points out, this woman has been lying to you. She's not crazy. Her parents didn't die. She's a doctor, and she committed herself here willingly. She's very rich and affluent and comes from a great neighborhood. She didn't grow up anywhere near you.
She's obsessed with Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, she's, well,
With
Joker.
Not Arthur.
She never calls him
exists.
Arthur.
Yeah.
She only ever calls him Joker. She loves the idea of Joker. She said, I wanted to see Murray die.
It was at this point that I realized Harley Quinn is the audience.
Yes.
Of the movie.
Harley Quinn are the people who want to see Joker.
Harley Quinn is everyone who gave the movie a 6 or less on IMDb.
Because they were upset they didn't get to see their
Clown Prince of Crime.
Yes. They wanted to see Arthur's crime kingdom, which if you saw the first movie, this man is very incapable of doing anything.
But this goes to show that Harley Quinn only ever saw his action.
Yes.
She got the highlight reel.
Which is what everyone...
Through the movie. Because they made a documentary about Joker. So she watched the Joker documentary.
She only saw the portrayal of Joker.
And wants him to be the Clown Prince of Crime.
And so Arthur, who is so immediately smitten with someone giving him attention...
Happy just to have someone care about him.
Plays along with it. He completely falls into the Joker act to satisfy Lee. Not even to satisfy, because he has a lot of supporters. Mm-hmm. Every single day at the courthouse, you see people in clown makeup. You see people with F. U. Murray signs. You see all of these supporters. It's not even for them. He just wants to impress Lee.
There's more fans of Joker than there aren't fans of Joker in this world.
Yes. He symbolizes this antisocial, fight the man, anti-establishment.
Destroy the system.
He symbolizes this really cool persona for them because they don't really know. All they saw was some guy in clown makeup kill a talk show host, and now they're fixated.
Joker is their toxic Batman.
Yes. He became a symbol for them. So that's what the conflict is in the film. Joker versus... Or it's not Joker versus. It's more so
it's man versus himself.
Yes. Arthur is trying to play up this persona of what people expect for him. So then he eventually fires his attorney because Lee tells him she hates you, Arthur, or she hates you, Joker.
Even though you can
trying to lie.
Clearly see that the attorney's doing a great job. The jury is sympathetic to him.
Yes.
The defense is not able to prove their points.
Right.
It's a really good, if you like courtroom dramas, the second half of the movie is mostly courtroom drama, and I think it's a really well done one of those.
And so in Joker 1, there were 2 things that were open-ended. And here's another thing. You can tell, I think this will tell you if you really know Arthur Fleck and if you don't. His neighbor, Sophie, the black woman that Arthur, in the movie, it was portrayed that he had a relationship with her. And then you find out that it was imaginary. But the whole movie, he's hanging out with her, they're kissing, he has this fantasy of her. And then he goes into her apartment with a gun, and that's all we see. And then the next scene we see Arthur at Murray's. All we see is that. We don't have any resolution for that. There was no ending scene with her. And then at the very end, when Arthur is committed and he is talking to a health professional, the very end credits, he's skipping down the hallway, his shoes are bloody, and he's leaving blood tracks. And that was the end of the movie. And I never thought he killed the neighbor, and I never thought he killed the person interviewing him.
Right.
I never thought that. And so in the sequel, you find out that, neither of those things happened.
Because this man is mentally unstable.
And the people that he killed the 3 Wayne brothers who were... Wayne Bros, who were in the process of sexually assaulting a woman on the subway. He killed that bully, the man who was harassing him and making him feel scared and threatened for his safety. And then he killed Murray.
And his mother.
And then we find out in this movie, too, that his mother allowed him to be sexually assaulted.
By herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now you have all this explanation as to, Arthur's just a very, very sick individual. We knew that in the first movie, but then it just clears up those loose ends about, no, he didn't commit either one of those because they have his neighbor up on the stand and she's talking about Arthur. They also have
Puddles,
who was the little person who he jumped up and he's like, nah, you can go, man, you can go, and letting him exit the apartment. He comes back on the stand, or he comes to the stand.
Really good scene with him.
And so, again, I remember all of the discourse about this movie in the beginning. People were like, oh, it's like an incel national anthem. Oh, this movie is just, incel propaganda. And that just made me, it's such cheap, stupid criticism to write something off as, oh, it's appealing to this audience because you feel wrong and embarrassed about your judgment about it. You should be able to watch a movie about a character that suffers from mental illness, and you should be able to empathize with them. No one is saying, Arthur says you get what you effing deserve.
Joker says that.
Which I quote all the time. Yeah, Joker says that. Also, by the way, Arthur Murray is the one who called him Joker. Remember?
Arthur Murray is a dance studio.
Oh, what's his name? Murray is the one who called him Joker.
Yep.
So the movie continues to go along with this whole is he or isn't he? But I think it's pretty obvious that Arthur was just playing up, I'm pretending to be Joker. Even during so the guy that they have play Harvey Dent is a young guy. Really, really fantastic. He gave off such Jimmy Stewart vibes, in my opinion. He just looked like a little Jimmy Stewart and kind of carried himself the same way. And so Arthur at one point fires his attorney, says, I'm going to do my own representation. And then he just starts doing this freaking How to Kill a Mockingbird, Southern thing.
I like that you call it How to Kill a Mockingbird, like as an instruction manual.
You know what I'm talking about.
Gregory Peck, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Gregory Peck. And so he's doing this whole hello, jury. This Southern, he's
putting it on.
He's putting it on, but it is only to try and impress Lee.
Yes.
Who, by the way, they have a quick 30-second tryst in prison. Mm-hmm. And she comes back later and tells him that she's pregnant. So Harley's like, we're having a baby with the Joker, which she absolutely wants her cute little Joker family.
She wants a little Joker baby.
She's psychotic.
Yep.
But what is kind of the turning points with everything when Arthur says, I'm not Joker?
He represents himself in prison.
Mm-hmm.
You spend a scene with him where he's in his makeup. He does the whole Gregory Peck impersonation. He comes back to prison, and his inmates are cheering for him. The inmates are out of control.
Yeah, the inmates.
They're so happy to have Joker.
And they start singing, oh, when the Saints come marching in.
Which is very offensive to Brandon Gleeson's character because he loves to sing and he loves that song specifically.
Oh, yeah, he hates Brandon Gleeson.
So the guards take Arthur to the bathroom.
Yes.
And they molest him.
Yes.
Then they drag him back to his cell and kill his friend.
Yeah.
And this causes Arthur to realize me being the Joker is only hurting myself and everyone around me. It is that realization that I am, a criminal. I am causing pain and harm. And I think in that moment he realizes he is absolutely separate.
Yeah.
Arthur Murray is not the Joker. Mm-hmm. Arthur Fleck. Arthur Murray is a dance studio. Arthur Fleck is not the Joker. Fleck. And the Joker is not Arthur Fleck. So the next time he goes to the court, he has a very candid, closing speech with the jury. Says, I killed 5 people, technically 6, including my mother.
Yeah, he admits to killing his mother, right?
I want to blow up. I want it to be over.
Right. Well, he also says he talks about being he wants to end his life and Joker isn't real. And that is when Lee gets up out of her seat, looks at him and walks out. And then some supporters also follow suit. And so it's very clear in that point. She doesn't give a crap about him. She just loved the idea of this guy in clown makeup who killed Murray, who killed these guys, who doesn't have any fear. She built up this image, and that's who she loves.
Never meet your heroes.
Right. Yeah, that's basically it. And so then someone
the next day
leaves a car bomb.
The jury comes out, gives him the...
Oh, no, it was the same day. He said they came back like within the hour. He never left the courtroom.
That's right.
So jury comes back. They give him the sentence. They said that you're going to die. Because this whole trial, he's going on trial for execution. And then someone leaves a car bomb. The courtroom explodes. And then you see a guy dressed exactly like Joker come and get him and say, oh my gosh, it worked. We got him. Go in the car. And you see his supporters staged this car bomb to help him get out and escape. And Arthur is in the back of this vehicle, and he jumps out and he runs away. And these guys are chasing him down. You know, like, come back. We love you. We want to help you. We love you. And Arthur sees Lee, who has moved into his old apartment, by the way, because she's so obsessed with him. He runs back there. And she basically just tells him that you were never Joker. You were only Arthur. There's nothing between us. Goodbye. And then Arthur is accosted by police and taken back to jail. And in the very last scene, Arthur is told by one of the guards that he has a visitor. And as he's walking out into the hallway, one of these inmates, and this inmate, by the way, had always been seen in the background of his prison scenes. He was kind of sulking in the background. He had this very peculiar face.
You couldn't tell if he liked Arthur or if he hated him.
Right. And then he had this look of adoration on him when Arthur was singing and whatnot. But then during Arthur's trial, where he talked about, I'm not the Joker, you see this guy's expression fall. So this guy follows Arthur out into the hallway and he says, I have a joke for you. You know, what do you get? Or, you know, he's like, a psychopath walks into a bar and he sees this drunk, sad clown sitting there, you know, just pathetic. And he goes up to the drunk, sad clown and he says, you know, basically, you get what you effing deserve. And he pulls out this little shiv and stabs Arthur in the stomach repeatedly. Repeatedly stabs Arthur to death. And then the music cuts in That's Life, Frank Sinatra, which is one of the songs that I think Brendan Gleeson was singing earlier in the film. And as the camera is focused on Arthur sitting there bleeding out, dying, he's been stabbed in the stomach multiple times, you see the assailants blurry on the slumped against the wall with the shiv, and he takes it to his mouth and he cuts the corners of his mouth as he's laughing maniacally. And then you of course hear the distorted, when your mouth is no longer together, you hear the sound that would make. Mm-hmm. And that part of the movie, I was like shook. I was actually shook because that was such a cool callback to Heath Ledger's Joker. And in those movies, you want to know where I got these scars? It was a meme. It was a big thing. You want to know how I got these scars? He had a different story for everyone. So obviously, this isn't quite meant to be that Joker.
But it's definitely
it's a callback.
Very strong reference.
I feel like you could though. Okay, but here's the thing.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, it does.
Timeline wise, it doesn't fit.
It sure does.
Sure don't.
Yeah, it does. Why doesn't it fit?
Because Harvey Dent would be 50-something.
He looked great for his age. Doy.
They literally say he's young in Dark Knight.
What? You can't be 50 and young?
They're like, oh, he's the youngest DA you ever had.
50 young man.
He would also have scars from when the freaking courthouse exploded.
The car bomb did explode, and Harvey's half of his face was moderately cut up.
Moderately. He had like 16 scratches on it, you know.
Somewhat of an acid chemical peel.
Yeah. So it's definitely not Heath Ledger's Joker, but
it is
reference.
A callback.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that is interesting about that scene, okay? What that is telling you is Arthur Fleck is not Joker. That guy slumped across the wall with the slits in his mouth. We can say, okay, that represents Joker. I really think in this universe, Lee is the closest thing to Joker.
Correct.
because she is absolutely evil and psychotic. And when you think about Joker as a character in the anime, you think he's very unwell, but he literally just wanted to hurt people for no reason.
Yeah, Joker's a psychopath.
He's a psychopath. Arthur Fleck, as established in the first movie, in this movie, is not a psychopath. He was never going to be a psychopath. So was this a needed movie? It's not necessarily that it was needed. I think it completely confirms that Arthur was not this evil mastermind. Not that we needed anyone to tell us this, but duh, if you didn't know that.
Apparently we did, because the fact that people hate this movie tells me that no one got the message the first time.
But they only hate it because they thought he was an evil mastermind, which makes them just the same blind followers that showed up at the courtroom in their clown paint,
yes,
flipping off the police and stuff.
The whole point of this movie is that most people didn't get it.
Like to quote my boy, you wouldn't get it.
Yes, they didn't
get it. You
legit
legit wouldn't get it.
Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn, is the audience.
Yes.
I said it before, who gave the movie less than a 6 on IMDb.
Because she wanted to see this big moment of his.
Right. Her disappointment is your disappointment.
But here's the thing. Lee, and we kind of put this together, Lee set him up to get shivved by this guy.
So I actually saw something on the internet, some discussion. They think that the guards set him up to get stabbed. And I'm like, I don't think that at all.
No.
But a lot of people think it was the guards. Because they gave him like a look. If anything, I think Lee already knew how to manipulate the guards, which was evident multiple times.
Oh,
the
yeah,
access she had to Joker is, given the way the guards treat Arthur versus how they treat him when Lee asks, it's wild.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Lee has unfettered access.
Right.
Well, she's rich. She probably donates a lot of money to Arkham.
Yeah.
You know, she is a criminal psychologist, so she's probably helped them, or her parents are connected. So I absolutely think Lee either orchestrated with the guards or with the proto-Joker to come in and finish the job.
The reason I think Lee did have a hand in it, though, because there is one musical number in which they are singing together, Arthur and Lee, and it's kind of this cute. So when...
It's very Sonny and Cher.
Yes. And there's one point in the song where Joker stops singing and he says, well, it's weird. We're singing about us, but you're making it all about you. And she's like, okay, then let's give the people what they want, baby. And she pulls out a gun and she shoots Arthur in the stomach. And this happens in one of his musical fantasies. But that absolutely is foreshadowing for her killing him at the end of it, or her having a hand in it. She didn't directly kill him, but she absolutely facilitated his death. And that was his punishment for not living up to her ideal. And so another reason I think a lot of people, this is a very sad, this is a very tragic character. He has this is like consistently been hurt, and the only person that had a shot at helping him, unfortunately, was the attorney who he fired and gets manipulated to get away from. I think that's just such a testament to people who get in these really toxic communities that listen to these awful voices around them that just want to see their downfall. That just the people that egg them on just because they, you know, for their own entertainment even, but they don't care about them whatsoever. And when something awful happens, they're all out.
Both of these movies represent different kinds of abuse.
Yes.
That is facilitated by all the different facets of your friends, your family, society, the justice system. It is all about abuse, and all the abuse is pointed towards Arthur.
Yes.
And some of it doesn't feel like abuse to him.
No.
But he doesn't realize that.
And that is really, I think, what makes this series really good, is that very, very, very rarely, I mean, I can't think of a movie I've seen that handles mental health in this day and age well.
No. Like, even One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I mean,
it's a very good movie.
Yeah.
But, like, you could still point to things and call it problematic.
Right.
Right? Like, it doesn't offer a solve.
Yeah.
This movie, I don't even know if it offers a solve so much as it just holds a mirror up to the problems and says nothing is good enough.
Right. Like, it does show a sympathetic character, though. It's not all bleak and like, oh, you don't have a chance. Like, he had a very obvious way out, and that was getting help. Unfortunately, he got wrapped up with Lee, and Lee was awful, and she was she was a terrible influence on him. She was phenomenal, though.
Oh, Lady Gaga was tremendous.
The singing was really good, too, because it didn't feel performative. It felt like they were just singing over a mic, but there was no autotune. There was no cleaning up anything to make it sound really, melodic, except during the big musical numbers when it felt more polished and professional. But when they were singing, it just felt very real.
The longer Joker was off his meds, the more fantastic the singing became.
Right.
Which I thought was a really good touch. Like, all of his hallucinations and sort of mental unwellness came out the longer he was off medication.
Yeah. Right.
And that also led him to be more, unhinged and go along with Lee.
Yeah.
And I think she knew that.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a reason she wanted him to be off his meds.
Had he not had that stint in prison, it might have even been worse for him. Because he gets out, she starts doing like real crime with him. He doesn't want to do it. Then she just kills him outright.
Yeah.
Like, every road leads to him dying because he's a disappointment to her.
Yeah, that was kind of like, here, realistically, Arthur was never, ever going to have a happy life because he can't.
He can't.
In this society.
No.
Right? He was always going to have a tragic ending. And that's, I can see if people were really upset that they're like, oh, that felt like a mean movie. They killed him. Yeah, it was a very tragic portrayal. I was very upset when he died.
Yeah.
I was very frustrated and upset and hurt when he died. It's a fantastic movie because of the commentary. I'm not going to dislike the movie because they killed him off. Because he was never going to survive. What's wrong?
She's chewing on that bag.
Penny's chewing on a bag.
We have a Harley Quinn at home.
Her name is Nee. But yeah, that was kind of just wrapping it up. Anything else that was stuck out that we wanted to talk about?
No, I really liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. I think it proves the point the director set out to make.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely liked it. And I think, to quote Joker, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, if you're out here I saw some, I'm not going to say names, but this YouTuber was cutting into it. And it just seemed like for such stupid, shallow reasons that I really, really think did not understand the plot and the message and what was trying to be said. So just, if you like Joker, you're going to like this movie, I would say. If you appreciate the first one for the reasons, then you'll like it. But yeah, that's our review.
That's it.
Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right, cool.